Okay, my dudes, it looks like we are live. I want to give everybody a happy 4th of July. And to celebrate, we are going to be going through and doing a live stream. So, of course, if you come in here, I mean, you know the drill on these mock drafts. Go shoot me that DM over there on Patreon if you are wanting to join. And for everybody subscribed to the channel with their notifications on, I'm going to give it about 3 or 4 minutes for everyone over there on Patreon to shoot me that DM before I just go ahead and send the link to this mock draft out in the general chat. And I'd imagine that there are going to be some people that are not going to be able to make it out here that are usually regulars to these mock drafts. So there should be a decent amount of spots available given the fact that it is 4th of July. I'm sure a lot of people have more fun things to do than participate in a Dynasty startup draft. But, you know, this is literally the most fun thing that I can do. So, of course, we are going to be out here. Okay, so let me send that link out to Patreon real quick so we can get people just hopping in without having to leave YouTube. Sent that out and pinned it to the top. Okay, so it looks like there are actually a decent amount of people out here. 30 seconds into the live stream, and we've already passed 10 likes on the stream. Thank you so much for everybody coming out. Thank you, everybody, for dropping those likes. Now let's go through and pull up Patreon real quick just so we can start sending those links out and making sure that everybody who wants in can get in. And then, like I said, guys, I promise you I'll send that out if we have any open spots in the general chat in just a few minutes. Okay, so let's grab that, go over here. Okay, so it looks like we got a decent amount of people. Thomas got you that link. My man Ernest got it for you. Ryan, Sean, Craig, Matthew, Zachary, all those links should be sent out. Thank you for coming out, my dudes. Okay, let me refresh that just to make sure if we have any more people. I may have lied to y'all. It looks like we are actually not going to be able to send this in the general chat with how many people over there on Patreon are currently available. And like I said, guys, I mean, the people supporting the show on Patreon, it's literally like they're my boss. So I just have to do everything that I can for them. So they are going to get the priority spots, even though a lot of the times the people who can't support the show on Patreon can still hop in these mock drafts by just making sure their notifications are on. So I apologize for anybody in the general chat that wanted to make it out, but couldn't. Okay, so Clint, I got you, my man. Hey, Clint from Shirts. I hope you're going to the festival, seeing some fireworks. I was really hoping that we were going to be able to go swim. At least my girlfriend, dog, and I, we were going to go down to the river today, but the weather doesn't look that good. I have to make a few extra videos, so hopefully it clears up by the time we're done with the videos, and I need to write at least, I'll say, another 15 pages for that draft guide because really trying to get that to the editor within the week so we can finish that up. Okay, so now let's go over. It looks like we are going to be filling this ASAP. Okay, we have one spot left. Looks like we are all full, so we are not going to waste any time here. And this is going to be a little bit of a different mock draft. We have never done this before, but the timer on this mock draft is 30 seconds. I think this is going to keep people a lot more engaged. And yes, the pressure is going to be on. And this is not how we are going to do it for our real Dynasty drafts. And a quick reminder, we do have the Flock 16 startup. That's going to be a Patreon league that kicks off, I believe, July 7th. So we should be live streaming that as well. That league is already filled, but we are going to be having a lot more Patreon startups this offseason. And the reason we are doing this mock draft is so I can get in and get some practice with this league format. Because if you can tell, this is a 3rd round reversal, and we actually drew the 101. Yes, we ended up trading the pick. Of course, you know, in those Flock Patreon leagues, you're going to see so many trades before the draft gets started. But it looks like Super PACs may be on the timeout right here. Please, man, do not make it where I have to end this draft literally to remove just you and you alone. Oh my God. Are we really going to have to deal with this right now? Super PACs, you better get in here, my man. Let me at him real quick because it's going to be ridiculous if we have to end this entire mock draft just so he can come in. Super PACs is actually in the Flock 16 Patreon startup, and he has made a ridiculous amount of trades already. Looks like we are going to have, oh my God, this is maybe the first time ever this has happened in one of our mock drafts. Back-to-back timeouts. Okay, Super PACs looks like he's back in. If Delhi's Dynasty doesn't come back in, what we are going to have to do is we're going to have to shut this down, and I'm going to have to get out new invites. Super PACs is back in. Let's see if Delhi's Dynasty comes back. Oh my God. I am sorry about this, my dudes. Obviously, if we have a timeout the entire draft, this is just going to ruin everything. Let me add him in the chat real quick. Okay, so let me check the general chat real quick. Try to stop being an asshole over here on the stream. Let's check the chat. Okay, so it looks like it was seeing if it just a lot of people saying happy 4th, happy 4th. Yes, sir. Happy 4th, my dudes. Kevin says, come watch me make this pick at the 110 Wednesday Flock Nation. Yes, sir. Kevin is in the Flock 16. I didn't know you were drafting out of the 110, but that is interesting. Okay, so PT says, Yo Mason, I give Chris Carson, Chris Godwin, and a future first for Justin Jefferson. What do you think? Honestly, I don't like the trade. I mean, I think I would prefer if you could have moved Chris Carson for a future first, and I definitely would prefer 2 future first and Chris Godwin over Justin Jefferson. Just how I play Dynasty, I would rather try to pivot down and continue to stack assets on top of what you're finding with those elite wide receivers rather than paying up for the elite wide receivers and having to give multiple assets on top of it. Okay, so 30 likes on the live stream. Thank you so much, my dudes. Okay, god dang, Deli's Dynasty. Guys, please. Okay, it looks like he is back in. Thank God, at least the little dot shows that he is here. Okay, so he is back. Okay, this mock draft looks like it should be good. And we have an absurd quarterback run going. So yes, this is a Superflex tight end premium Dynasty league. Justin Fields, Trey Lance, both going at the beginning of the 2nd round. Then, oh my gosh, there are only 4 running backs off the board so far. So obviously, if you get the 101 here and you draft the Patrick Mahomes, you're really liking how this went with how that quarterback value is going off, because you really don't have to prioritize going quarterback in any round after this. But yeah, guys, I think this is ridiculous to have guys like Justin Fields going ahead of any of these running backs here, to be honest. I mean, Justin Fields going ahead of Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Najee Harris, DeAndre Swift. I mean, I cannot get behind that. Y'all know I'm a little bit of a Justin Fields hater, but still, I think that is way too early. And it looks like this quarterback run is continuing. Maybe this has something to do with the 30-second timer where people may not necessarily have the adequate time to actually go through and think out their picks, and they're just going with their initial reaction. Okay, PT says Saquon over Dak, super sus. Man, here, I'll say that, obviously, if you're at the 105, you're probably sitting there going, well, I wish I would have decided to take a Lamar Jackson, a Justin Herbert, a Dak Prescott instead of Saquon Barkley. But it's hard to know that you're going to see this quarterback draft, this startup draft, this quarterback hungry through the first 1.5 rounds so far. And also, guys, I want to give an apology. So yesterday was our first day of the entire offseason without uploading a video or streaming on this channel. And of course, we have a very good reason for that. And that's because we had our $500 Patreon League kick off yesterday. And I really had to make sure we were doing everything that we can to just focus in on that league, make sure that everything ran smoothly with also the stream and me drafting my own team at the same time. Now, I'd imagine that that was like a 2-hour event that most people wanted to watch that compared to a Dynasty video. So we put our effort into that. We highlighted that across the network, comparing just going with the usual Dynasty video and redraft video every day. Okay, so now let's go through. And Kevin says Dynasty Superflex tight end premium 3rd round reversal. Yeah, this is intense. I have never participated in a 3rd round reversal before, and that's a big reason why I want to go through and do this exercise, because I want to see the difference that you're going to find with the 112, who gets the 112, the 201, as well as the 301, and obviously the 101 where we actually drew from. We have to pick at the very end of the 3rd round instead of the beginning. Not complaining too much, because if you get the 101, obviously you are already in a great spot to begin with. But it's going to be interesting. That's why I wanted to go through and do this exercise. Okay, so after taking Mahomes, I think that we will have I don't want to say a very easy decision here at the 212 if it falls how we want. Now, Super Packs came in the draft. Did he leave yet again? Okay, Thomas in here saying, damn, that 30 seconds is quick. Yes, sir, that 30 seconds is very quick. Okay, Super Packs, man, this may be the last time you ever get a link to a mock draft. I am sorry to be an ass, but back-to-back timeouts, that is ridiculous to start the draft. I mean, there's literally no excuses for that. Okay, so now let's go in, and we are going to be taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire to stack with Patrick Mahomes. Honestly, even looking at the draft board right now, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be my highest ranked running back in a vacuum. You have Antonio Gibson right there, but CEH in the same tier. We have Patrick Mahomes. We are going to be going Mahomes and CEH to start off this draft. And yes, this is a third round reversal, so we don't get to pick again until the very end of this round. But regardless, I do like how this started. And what's also interesting is we get to pick at the beginning of the fourth. So I don't know how big of a difference it's going to be. And that's why I kind of wanted to go through and do this exercise. Okay. So please, guys, let me know what y'all think about a third round reversal. Let me know how many of y'all have actually gone out there and done them on your own, and if you prefer them over a regular format, because we had a lot of requests over there on Patreon for us to do our next startup with a third round reversal. Okay, Mega is saying, great team so far. Yes, sir, but honestly, it's been very easy. Obviously, we haven't had to make any difficult decisions getting the 101 and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire falling to us at the 212. But now Kyle Pitts going as the tight end 1 in this draft. So I can't get behind Kyle Pitts as the tight end 1 in Dynasty. Honestly, I can't even come close to making that assessment. But I will agree that he is in the tier 1 of tight ends. We were too low on him this offseason before the Julio Jones trade. And of course, we've corrected that. But Kyle Pitts is still my tight end number 4 in Dynasty. I can't get behind taking him at the 303, even though I know that a lot of smart people do see him as the tight end 1. But yeah, we have these elite guys going off the board. I mean, I would have been in heaven if we had Travis Kelce falling to us with the 312. That would have been best case scenario. Okay, so Zach Monte coming out says, was hoping Justin Jefferson or Antonio Gibson would fall. But to be honest, I don't mind Kyle Pitts at the 303 in a tight end premium format. Honestly, I think going tight end at the 303 is the exact same thing I would have done. I most likely instead of would have taken a George Kittle, but I understand wanting to go tight end there, lock in that elite asset. But yeah, I think Kittle would have been my guy. Okay. So Ron says, first time I've heard of the third round thing. Oh, no, it's a very popular thing, especially this offseason with Sleeper adding it in to their platform, because it's something that I know other high stakes platforms do as well. So I just wanted to get a nice feel for it, see what the actual fall off was instead of picking at the 301 and the 412, instead going the 312 and the 401. Okay, so Darren Waller at the 309. I would have loved to see Darren Waller fall to us. But here, I think I need to start looking at the board before we get on the clock, to be completely honest. Travis Etienne is going to be interesting here. We get back-to-back picks. I think we actually go maybe CeeDee Lamb, Travis Etienne. What quarterbacks are available? QB, I think we're fine after we go Mahomes. And y'all know how high I am on Travis Etienne. Maybe we have to go Ezekiel Elliott. I think what we actually probably do here, no, I can't take Zeke at the 401. I think that's just my redraft brain trying to come in and mess me up. I know a lot of people aren't going to like this, but y'all know how high I am on Travis Etienne, how he checks every single box, how I view him already as going to be a mid running back 2 this upcoming season. And with that assessment, I think you look at a first round running back and you think that he's a decent value at the 401. We're going to be having 2 3-down running backs on their rookie contracts with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Travis Etienne. We have that cornerstone wide receiver asset to build around for the future with CeeDee Lamb. And obviously Patrick Mahomes is going to be the best player you can have in Dynasty. Okay, so Abe says he's done a few third-round reversal drafts and he does not like them at all. Okay, that is interesting. Like I said, I really want to feel this out and kind of see what we think about this going forward, because I'm going to be completely honest. I think that this may be something we implement in the future with more Flock Patreon Dynasty startups, but I can't guarantee it for now. So I think we just kind of roll with it. We see how this mock draft goes. We also see how the Flock 16 startup goes, and then we try to assess from there. Kevin says Super PAX is disgusting. Yes, sir, but Super PAX is currently on auto, which I don't even want to bring it up. I don't know how you join a draft and go on auto right away, but it is what it is. Mike saying, love the start, Mason. Thank you, my man, for your feedback. And like I said, guys, I'm very sorry that we didn't get that video or stream out yesterday. It was literally our first time missing this entire offseason. But, I mean, we had $1,000 invested into the draft we did yesterday on the main channel. I think that is plenty of reason to go through and prioritize going and focusing in on that compared to getting an extra video out on the Dynasty channel. Okay. Irv says, I'm torn between Travis Etienne and Javonte Williams myself. The draft isn't closer until the season. What I'll say is, yes, Javonte Williams looks like a great asset to own going forward, especially when we know Melvin Gordon's not going to be there this upcoming season. In 2022. But think about the long-term outlook of each franchise with the current quarterback situation that they have. I mean, I am way more likely to make a bet that the feature down running back on a Trevor Lawrence-led offense is going to be more productive than the feature down running back on a Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, or God knows who led offense this upcoming season. Okay, so we have some more veteran running backs going off the board in Joe Mixon and Aaron Jones. Honestly, I really like what we have seen right here. I mean, this has been a fantastic start by B-Duff. Barkley, Hill, Ridley, Davante Adams. That is fantastic. Congrats on that start there. Okay, guys, if you have not dropped a like on the stream yet, please, please, please go down there, drop a like. 4th of July, big day here. I mean, I would be surprised if anybody else is doing any type of stream on 4th of July. So, yeah, go down there, drop that like. Now, Jamar Chase, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson. I think that Jamar Chase, honestly, a wide receiver that I view as being a little bit overvalued in Dynasty, but the majority of the time he's going in the 3rd round. He's going actually ahead of CeeDee Lamb. He's going ahead of DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, right next to Calvin Ridley in most startup drafts. So I think if you get him here at the 409, that's actually fantastic value. Okay, so Miles Sanders at the 412. Honestly, I think Javonte Williams at this point is a much better player to own in Dynasty over Miles Sanders, but to each their own. Now, tight end. See, you just see that massive drop-off after the top 4 tight ends in Dynasty startups. Now, T. Higgins was really hoping that T. Higgins was going to fall to us at the 512. I mean, the T. Higgins Dynasty value right now is just all thrown out of whack. I mean, that's a player that I am drastically moving up my Dynasty rankings. And at the same time, I mean, we're even being aggressive on him in redraft leagues. I believe we drafted him in the middle of the 6th round. I believe, actually, maybe in the middle of the 5th round. We drafted him very high in our redraft draft yesterday, and we had $1,000 attached to that draft. I mean, it was pretty high stakes for us to be drafting T. Higgins. Now, Javonte Williams at the 503, one of the best values of this draft so far. I really, really like that Javonte Williams selection. Okay, so Jake says 3 first-round young players, elite for Dynasty. Yeah, I mean, I really, really like our start here with Mahomes, CEH, CeeDee Lamb, and Travis Etienne. Now, It's Imrod takes his first quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. I do like this start from It's Imrod. I think this also has an argument to be made to be the best team so far. I think the play, honestly, it looks more and more like you're just going to be soaking up so much quarterback value when you get down here to round 5 and you can take a Ryan Tannehill as your first quarterback. And we know based on Ryan Tannehill over the past 2 years, that's a pretty safe bet with Julio Jones coming into town as well. So I think maybe you're right. The play could be to just wait on quarterback and try to get that first guy in round 5. Okay, so Matthew Stafford going, yeah, these teams that waited on quarterback to get Ryan Tannehill and Matthew Stafford, I think we are jealous. Obviously, we're never considering doing that when we have access to Patrick Mahomes, but I really like that strategy. Now, Mblaze with the Miami Dolphins logo coming out, taking Tua Tagovailoa should not be that big of a surprise for anyone. Now, Jesse says Brandon Ayuk versus T. Higgins. We actually have them ranked back-to-back in our Dynasty rankings currently. So that's mainly going to be up to you and your own preference. Okay, so Amari Cooper at the 510. Okay, so we need to start looking at who we want here with this pick coming up. Okay, so there are 2 players that stand out to me. Hopefully both of them fall. Actually, there are 3 guys. Okay, so we're either going to be going Zach Wilson at quarterback here. We could be going with Brandon Ayuk at wide receiver, or we could be going with TJ Hawkinson at tight end. I think what we actually do, I think we decide to pass on Zach Wilson. He may be the value here, but like I already said, we do have Patrick Mahomes on this team already, so we really don't have to force the need at quarterback. We're going to go Brandon Ayuk and TJ Hawkinson here at the 5-6 turn. Like I said, this is a super flex tight end premium Dynasty startup with a 3rd round reversal. Our start so far is Mahomes as our standalone quarterback, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Travis Etienne at running back, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk at wide receiver, and TJ Hawkinson at tight end. Okay, so Drew coming out says Jungle Book's team looks like a year 1 contender. Let's check out where Jungle Book is. Okay, so super packs can come in, turn auto off, and then just get autoed again. I mean, dear God. Okay, so let's go back, and we were looking for Jungle Book. I don't even know who you're talking about with Jungle Book here. Okay, the Jungle Book. Okay, so Dak, Russ, Kelsey, Aaron Jones, Michael Thomas. Yeah, this is an extremely strong start for 2021. I think beyond that, you're going to have a little bit in question with Michael Thomas, Aaron Jones, Travis Kelsey, all in the decline in their dynasty value. But if you're talking about instant production, that's exactly what that team has. Tom says, Super PAC's back and Super PAC's left again. Yeah, yes, that is very frustrating. Okay, so Devonta Smith here at the 604. I think you can easily make an argument to take Devonta Smith over Brandon Ayuk in Dynasty. I mean, that's a fair argument to be had. Now, B-Duff, this is the best start of the draft. It's either Imrod or B-Duff with the best start so far. I mean, waiting on quarterback and getting their guys in rounds 5 and 6. Yeah, that is fantastic. Like we said, we almost considered taking Zach Wilson over one of Brandon Ayuk or TJ Hawkinson. If we did not draw the 101 and decided to take Patrick Mahomes, we most likely would have gone with Zach Wilson with one of those picks, but I think that is fantastic. Now here, Jerry Jeudy at the 606. I don't know if we can get behind this pick. I mean, there are multiple other players that I would prefer having over him in Dynasty. That's just not my guy. And Baker Mayfield, talk about a player that I want nothing to do with in Dynasty. I understand that he's kind of seen as the last guy in a tier here, but to be completely honest, he is just light years away for me with these other quarterbacks in Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, Baker Mayfield, he was a quarterback that has no access to any kind of rushing upside in the slightest. And we understand that that's something that's very important if you were going to be looking at these guys at having any type of ceiling. And then you go, okay, well, if they're not going to have rushing upside, what do they need to have to be top-end producers in fantasy? They need to have the potential to be top 3 in the NFL in overall passing volume. I mean, Tom Brady was second in the NFL this past year in passing yards. He was second, I believe, in passing touchdowns, and he was 8th in fantasy points on a per-game basis. So that tells us that, I mean, if you want to be a top 10 quarterback, just barely crack the top 10. You have to essentially lead the NFL in passing in today's age at the quarterback position. Baker Mayfield does no rushing upside in the slightest. This team makes it where he has no ability to even sniff being a top 10 quarterback in passing yards. So I'm viewing him as someone that's a guaranteed quarterback to be bottom 10 out of all the starters in fantasy points per game, even if he is a good quarterback for real life standards. Okay, so now going through Robert Woods, Chase Claypool, Josh Jacobs, Kareem Hunt. Y'all know I am not a massive Josh Jacobs fan. But at the 6'10 here, I think that you look at Jacobs and go, this is probably good value. This is probably a range where you can be taking him. Okay, Ron says, how high are you on Tua this year and beyond? Actually, Baskin and I had an argument over there on Patreon the other day talking about Tua Tagovailoa, where I was saying that he's a quarterback that I like aggressively targeting. I've actually drafted him ahead of Matthew Stafford in a startup this offseason. And looking back at it, I think that was a very poor decision by myself. Now, the reason I'm saying that is while, yes, I really liked Tua in terms of the talent that he showed at Alabama, and also we understand that his rookie season was really plagued with that hip injury, and I think that he has a great excuse for not necessarily putting up the best rookie year. But at the same time, you're looking at high-stakes redraft players right now, and they are drafting Tua Tagovailoa at the very end of drafts. I mean, a lot of times he is going undrafted, and we have to understand that this game is played through a range of outcomes since. So what would happen in this scenario where we go through and all of a sudden Tua Tagovailoa is as bad as he was this past rookie year? And I'm not saying this is 100% going to happen, but I'm saying it's definitely possible. And in that scenario, I mean, his job is in question. Nobody can deny that either. So given that fact, Tua is someone that I don't see having the long-term job security that his age may actually indicate. And also, he is not someone that has access to an elite ceiling this upcoming season. So I think maybe I'm honestly a little bit too high right now on Tua Tagovailoa in our dynasty rankings. Baskin made a great argument, and I honestly may need to consider moving him behind some of the guys he's currently ahead of. Okay, so I really like that Mark Andrews pick at the 701 in a tight end premium format. I mean, there is not a massive gap between TJ Hawkinson and Mark Andrews here. You're getting him a full round behind where I decided to take TJ Hawkinson. But this is a 30-second clock, so we are going to have to be on the lookout here really quick. Okay, so it looks like Kirk Cousins goes to the 710. Okay, that is completely fine for a timeout. Okay, so let's go and see if we need to be going down the draft board here slightly. So we are very balanced so far, where I really don't think we need to put the pressure on quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. I think we kind of just take the value where we see it. And I hate to do this, but I think Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be our highest. I don't know our highest, but one of our highest ranked wide receivers here. I think we are going to be going back-to-back wide receiver. Laviska Shenault at the 7-12. Love getting Shenault. Actually, someone that I most likely would prefer having over Jerry Jeudy. And also Juju Smith-Schuster in the 8th round as our wide receiver 4. So this is our start so far at quarterback. Mahomes at running back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Travis Etienne at wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, Laviska Shenault, Juju Smith-Schuster, and at tight end, TJ Hawkinson. I really, really like that start. I mean, the difference between a Deebo Samuel and a Laviska Shenault and a Juju Smith-Schuster for myself is literally massive. I mean, I can't even exaggerate the difference between those guys. Okay, so Irv says DJ Moore might get hurt by Darnold. Honestly, I think that Sam Darnold's going to be an upgrade over what you had with Teddy Bridgewater last year. And I know that's not necessarily intuitive for a lot of people, but I think the easiest thing to do is look at the fact that the coaching staff, the front office, the people who were actually working with Teddy Bridgewater last year, understanding everything about him, way more about him than we can actually understand. They know his limitations. They know his strength. They went out of their way and went, you know what? Teddy Bridgewater is such a downgrade over Sam Darnold. Let's go give a 2nd-round pick. Let's trade for Sam Darnold. Let's pay Teddy Bridgewater's entire contract, give him to Denver for nothing, and essentially be paying both quarterbacks and have to give that 2nd-round pick on top of it to get to Sam Darnold. So that's a significant investment that they actually made into Darnold. So I think that Sam Darnold should be the best quarterback that DJ Moore has played with in probably the past 2 to 3 years now, because think about it. He had Cam Newton, but not good Cam Newton. I mean, Cam Newton in his prime was the best quarterback in the NFL, at least arguably. But he had Cam Newton, shoulder falling off his body Cam Newton. He had Kyle Allen, and he had Teddy Bridgewater, the quarterback that this team is paying his entire contract just to go over to Denver. And they go out of their way to make the investment into Sam Darnold. I don't think it's crazy to say that Sam Darnold may be the best quarterback that DJ Moore has ever played with. Okay. So now let's go through. It looks like people are saying we're underrating Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel, in my opinion, is just not a natural fit with Trey Lance. I mean, you look at Trey Lance, and he was known in college to be an aggressive down the field passer, and Deebo Samuel has the lowest average depth of target of any wide receiver in the NFL over the past 2 to 3 seasons. So that tells us, hell, this doesn't make that much sense. We know a mobile quarterback is not going to be looking to check the ball down that often. He's going to be throwing the ball aggressively down the field. Brandon Ayuk is the wide receiver running routes deep downfield. Deebo Samuel is the gadget guy getting everything at the line of scrimmage, which we know that Trey Lance isn't necessarily a massive fan of. And on top of this, I mean, we don't even need to bring up the Deebo Samuel injury history. I'm the last person to call a player injury prone, but I think with Deebo Samuel, you actually have a decent argument to be made for him to be injury prone. Okay, so now you got Robbie Anderson, Tyler Lockett, Odell Beckham Jr. at wide receiver. I actually really like this value with Myles Gaskin here, because if you're looking at Myles Gaskin going alongside Odell and Julio Jones, you're essentially saying all of these players are win now assets. I mean, with Myles Gaskin, I am not viewing him as someone that has any chance to be productive outside of just 2021. I think in 2022, there's no way that he has that starting job for Miami. He's a one-year rental and the definition of it. But at the same time, you can say that same thing about both Odell Beckham Jr. and Julio Jones. And when you're looking at both of those wide receivers as potential one-year rentals, I mean, I think you prefer the running back value, as it's a lot harder to come by compared to wide receiver. Okay, so now let's go through, and Robbie Anderson, Tyler Lockett, Odell, Julio Jones, Michael Pittman, Elijah Moore, and Curtis Samuel. I do like this Curtis Samuel value here by It's Imrod. It's Imrod literally just killing this draft. I mean, I think we would have taken Mac Jones or Daniel Jones over Odell Beckham Jr. here in the 8th. But beyond that, I really like this start so far. Probably I would have taken Chark over Courtland Sutton as well, or I would have taken Laviska Shenault over Courtland Sutton. But beyond that, I really like the draft. Okay, so let's go through. So A.J. Dillon there at the 905. Great value on A.J. Dillon. Michael Gallup. God dang. Michael Gallup is such a good pick in drafts right now. I really wanted Michael Gallup to be falling to us with the 912. Okay, so Wide receiver, you got Tyler Boyd, Rondell Moore, Terrace Marshall, Marquise Brown, Jarvis Landry, Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, Jalen Reagor. Running back, James Robinson, Ronald Jones, Chase Edmonds, Melvin Gordon. Quarterback, you got Carson Wentz, Sam Darnold, Derek Carr, Jared Goff, Jameis Winston, Ben Roethlisberger, Jordan Love. So honestly, do we decide to go? Let me count some stuff out real quick. Okay, so it looks like there are 2 other teams that only have 1 quarterback so far. And there are 1, 2, 3 teams with 3 quarterbacks. So what is the chance if we decide to pass up? This is what's really bad about picking at the end here is you don't necessarily have the luxury of just kind of sitting in the middle and letting the draft fall to you. You kind of have to go out there and make a few reaches. If we pass on QB here, the chance that either one of Carson Wentz, Sam Darnold, or Derek Carr actually fall back to us, it's going to be very low. So I think that we end up having to take Sam Darnold here. And I know a lot of people are going to be screaming at me to take Carson Wentz over Sam Darnold, but no, Darnold is the quarterback that I would prefer at this point. I mean, we actually have the Indianapolis Colts incentivized to bench Carson Wentz if things are not going well. We're going to go Terrace Marshall and Sam Darnold because I definitely believe in the weapons and the coach, and not, I don't want to say the coaching staff, but I definitely believe in the weapons that Sam Darnold has over Carson Wentz. Sam Darnold has actually been a sneaky good rusher over his career in fantasy. Okay, so let's show this draft board real quick. Let me go through, hide my little camera. And yeah, this is the draft so far. Like I said, guys, this is a super flex tight end premium format. This is our draft where we have Mahomes, Sam Darnold at quarterback. At running back, we have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Travis Etienne. At wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, Laviska Shenault, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Terrace Marshall. And at tight end, we do have TJ Hawkinson. Okay, so now let's pull this back up. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people are mad at Super PACs. Yeah, guys, I mean, he went on auto at the beginning of the draft. I understand that is very, very annoying. Okay, so let's see. Will Fuller, Carson Wentz. Okay, so B-Duff decides to draft 4 quarterbacks here. Now, I really don't like taking Matt Ryan in the 9th, to be completely honest. I think that I would prefer to most likely go with the Terrace Marshall, Tyler Boyd, or Rondell Moore in that scenario. But I understand it when you pass up on quarterback in the first 4 rounds and maybe just want to load up on them later on. Now, Derek Carr at the 10:06. So, yeah, we needed to go QB there. I'm happy that we decided to go with Sam Darnold at the 10:01. Okay, so Matthew says he has stacks for all his quarterbacks. Now, Matthew, are you in Blaze? Let me just go through and check. I believe we know that name. Okay, yes. So that I believe you are in Blaze because you're saying you have stacks for all your quarterbacks. That is actually really impressive because you did that without having to reach on any guy in particular, where you have Devonta Smith with Jalen Hurts, you have Will Fuller with Tua Tagovailoa, and you have Rondell Moore with Kyler Murray. I actually really like how you pulled that off, my man. I mean, obviously going out of your way and reaching for a stack isn't necessarily a great thing to do, but when the draft falls to you like it did, that's fantastic. Okay, Tom says Gallup and Michael Pittman in the 9th are steals. I agree that Michael Gallup in the 9th is a steal. I can't get behind Michael Pittman, though. This Michael Pittman hype is coming from nowhere. He had a very bad rookie season. He was a very bad rookie draft prospect compared to the other wide receivers in last year's class. And all of a sudden, people think that he's going to make some miraculous year 2 jump. Whereas with Henry Ruggs, I mean, everybody is completely off of him. And somehow Michael Pittman, who had a very bad rookie season on his own right, is all of a sudden getting this publicity where we don't even know if he's getting an upgrade or a downgrade at quarterback. Okay, so Corey Davis, Jameis Winston going off here. And also, guys, it looks like we passed 55 likes on this live stream. Thank you so much for everybody going down there, showing some love to the stream, dropping those likes. Like I said, I am very sorry about not getting that video out yesterday, but we had to go through. We had to focus on that $1,000 draft because there's a lot of money that we put up for that one, and I wanted to make sure we did everything we could to feel comfortable in that. Tom says, once T.Y. Hilton leaves, Michael Pittman will be the wide receiver 1. I honestly don't even know if Michael Pittman's better than Paris Campbell, to be completely honest. And I know that's a bold take. You look at high stakes redraft ADP, they're drafting Michael Pittman as if he's already the wide receiver one there. I don't understand it, to be completely honest. I don't know what I am missing. I would love someone to fill me in with what's going on with Michael Pittman. I'm viewing it more so people just see a big-bodied wide receiver. They want to get excited. Whereas, I mean, this is a player that stayed all 4 years at USC. He was never hyper-productive at USC. And he was drafted in the second round of the NFL draft. He wasn't a good rookie. Why is he a much better investment to be made right now than another wide receiver that I did not like in drafts at all last year? I hated Jalen Reagor in drafts, but what's so much better about Michael Pittman right now than Jalen Reagor? What's so much better than Michael Pittman than Henry Ruggs? I don't see it. I mean, I would prefer having Elijah Moore, Curtis Samuel, Michael Gallup, Rondale Moore, Terrace Marshall, Tyler Boyd. I would prefer having all those guys over Michael Pittman. I think he's in the same exact tier of Henry Ruggs. Drew says, if you guys have a good chance, there's a good YouTube video of Chase Claypool shutting down Michael Pittman in a 1v1. Jaden says, what's YouTube? Okay. All right, so Jordan Love at the 1103. Really like that Jordan Love value. Okay, so we needed to go quarterback with that last pick. Thank God we saved ourselves there. Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry, Logan Thomas, all going off the board. This Dallas Goedert value was pretty nice as well at the 806. See, like, I would love, like I said, I know that I'm most likely missing something with Michael Pittman. So if y'all have an argument to be made for him that I am just completely overlooking, please let me know, because high-stakes redraft players are agreeing with you. They're not agreeing with me. They are drafting him significantly ahead of someone like Henry Ruggs. They are evaluating him as if he is that locked and loaded wide receiver one for Indianapolis. So it's not like I'm saying that I'm 100% right and I'm sitting on some mountain. I'm saying, no, I'm some idiot over here behind a camera and asking, what am I missing? There's a good chance I'm wrong here, and I want to know how. Okay, so at wide receiver, there are a few names that pop out. We're obviously taking Marquise Brown here. At running back, y'all know how much I just love wide receivers. We're going to be going Hollywood Brown here in the 11th. See, we only have to start one running back in this format, so we have two guys. I feel comfortable rolling that out. A wide receiver, the question is, do we go Antonio Brown or do we decide to go with a running back? Quarterback, there is really nobody. Maybe tight end. Do we go with an Evan Ingram? I do like Evan Ingram. Let's just take him here at the 1201. I know that's a reach, but what's really bad about picking at the end here is we kind of have to reach, because you don't know if Evan Ingram is going to make it back in the 13th round, and you just kind of got to go get your guys when you're at the end, which is honestly why I'm one of the very few people who prefer picking in the middle. And what's crazy is actually I prefer, and I'm a lot more comfortable picking at the 106, the 107, the 108, the 105 as well. But if you look at historical win rates over the past 5 years, it's kind of like a bell curve where you actually have the highest chance of winning your league if you are picking at one of the ends of the extreme. If you're picking at the 112, the 111, or the 101, or the 102, compared to usually the teams in the middle, for whatever reason, don't perform that well on a season-to-season basis. I don't know why, but it's definitely been proven before with numbers. Okay, Zach Montes says, I am super high on Pittman. Draft capital, opportunity, BMI. Okay, I'll say real quick, BMI does not matter at wide receiver. But guys who like a volume like Pittman, because he profiles as an alpha if Carson Wentz succeeds. I'll say that he definitely has the body where he could lead that team in targets. I just don't know how likely that actually is. Okay, so Antonio Brown going there. Antonio Brown would have been the player that we would have considered drafting at the 1201. Honestly, in redraft leagues right now, I think Antonio Brown is one of the best values that you can have. So Jarvis Landry, Mike Williams. Also, let me know, guys, did you like this being a little bit of a faster speed? I figured that a lot of people had things to do on 4th of July, so I decided to go through and make this a format where it was a 30-second timer. So let me know what y'all are thinking in that scenario. Maybe that wasn't the best call with how fast this draft actually went. I wish we had like a nice meet in the middle with the 45-second timer, but I figured this should have been a slightly shorter stream than what we're used to. Okay, so we have Okay, so it's Imrod said, snipe me on Jordan Love right here. So he wanted Jordan Love at the 1104. Yeah, that Jordan Love selection was really good. Jordan Love, a player that I have in so many dynasty leagues. I mean, I'm really hoping that Aaron Rodgers does indeed get traded. While it's not that likely, what would actually be best for me, given the fact that we have Jordan Love everywhere, we have Aaron Rodgers, honestly, in a few leagues now that we have bought the dip. If Jordan Love got traded to Denver, that is something that I would be in love with. Okay, so Tom says Pittman might get extra targets because of mediocre to subpar quarterbacks like Carson Wentz like to just throw it to the big man like Pittman. I wonder if there's actually any data going into that with Carson Wentz, or if that's just more narrative. I would be interested to see that. Okay, Ricardo says, quick question, Dynasty Superflex startup. Mahomes in the 701 for a second, third, fifth, and a future first-round pick. Go get the second, third, and fifth, to be completely honest. I mean, I'm not even thinking about that, honestly. We recently traded Patrick Mahomes. We traded the 101 for, I believe, the 109, and I believe the 109, the 409, and the... no, actually, it was like the... Yeah, no, it was the 409. And then the 1002 or something. But yeah, we recently just traded Mahomes in the Flock 16 Patreon startup. Okay, Drew says, pulled the stats. Michael Pittman was the wide receiver 58 in points per game in weeks 9 through 16. 2 good 10-plus point games in weeks 10 and 11. See, that's what I'm saying. Michael Pittman had a very bad rookie season. I mean, it's not like he was much better at all than Henry Ruggs. And for whatever reason, Michael Pittman is getting that buzz. He is getting that publicity where I promise you, I know the gap doesn't look that big between these wide receivers in this mock draft, but in the majority of them, Michael Pittman's going higher than this, which is what I don't necessarily like. Okay, Jim says, is this Superflex I just joined? Yes, sir. This is a Superflex startup tight end premium. Let me expand us real quick so everybody can see the full board. And yeah, we had that massive run on quarterbacks at the very beginning. Okay, so Paris Campbell at the 1307. Y'all know Paris Campbell's a wide receiver that I actually really like in Dynasty right now. I like him in a redraft too, to be completely honest, just completely for free. Okay, so Paris Campbell, Amari Rodgers, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Diami Brown. Okay, Tony Pollard is gone. Tony Pollard was probably going to be our pick with this upcoming one, but I think we go with James Conner. We do only have 2 running backs. We go with someone that can have a role at the goal line this upcoming season, and if anything happened to Chase Edmonds, he'd step into a major role. But let me go through, hide this real quick so y'all can see the entire draft board. Take a screenshot, do whatever y'all want with that. And yeah, thank you so much for everybody coming out to this live stream. I really owe you a massive thank you for spending your 4th of July with me. I hope that y'all have some fun plans later today. Maybe go see some fireworks. Maybe go just spend time with your family. But yeah, thank you guys. I will be grinding away on that 2021 draft guide throughout the entire day today. So please wish me luck on that. And yeah, have a great day, my dudes.